Okay, so I've been waiting a few months to be able to get this shot to test this lens, and that is testing the 100 to 400 Sigma lens. And that just came out a few months ago. I got it right away. There's some specific stuff that I want to use this lens for, and this length of lens that I can get a real great distance and a light lens. But right now we have a lot of wind here where I am, and that wind allows for surf to happen on the Great Lakes. I'm on Georgian Bay here in Ontario, Canada, and you'll be amazed to see what the surf can look like here. It's not the ocean, it's a Great Lake. I haven't been able to use this lens as much as I would want to because it is kind of a very specific lens. It's for stuff like this, things like this when I'm shooting, whether that's wildlife or people or action sports, where I want to get a really long lens and be able to get it somewhere, get into, see that action close up, but also be having great autofocus. So that's what I'm excited about with this lens. And I'm also excited about the size of this thing. So it's very light and compact for a 100 to 400 mil lens. Let's go check it out right now. We're just gonna set over to another location, another angle to shoot some more surfing. But it's cold out, and I'm very underexposed here. But yes, it is cold out. My hands are cold. I have done a video which I'm gonna link up for you guys on how to dress to shoot in the cold, which I do a lot of, which I need to rewatch for myself because I did not dress properly or bring the right stuff. But it's the first time this year really shooting out in the cold and blowing snow, so I'll give myself a break there and I will rewatch my own video. Okay, let's go to the next location. Okay, so I'm back inside now in the warmth, and we're gonna go through some more features of this lens, the Sigma 100 to 400. It's an f5 when you're at 100, and as you keep going up with the lens, getting to the 400 range, I actually can't really remember where this changes because I actually just set my aperture, if I want it to be wide open, at 6.3, because at the longest range, it's at 6.3, f6.3. So what I typically do is I just set my f-stop to 6.3. So when I'm actually moving the lens and if I'm doing any tracking that way, my exposure is not changing because my f-stop is not changing. I've just set it to what is the maximum opening, if that makes sense. But I've loaded up a bunch of this footage, a shot of surfing on the computer. I have been going through this stuff and looking at it. Looking pretty awesome. I'm really happy with how this lens has been performing. There was some issues with some hunting for focus, but that I don't think was the lens's fault itself. It was more so just the nature of what I was shooting, and sometimes people going behind the waves, it would, get confused in the people or them not being there anymore. Photo-wise, stuff was very sharp. I have a bunch of different photos. I also shot with my A7III just to see how that would perform, and it's great. So this lens doesn't have a very fast f-stop when you think of that. It's f6.3, or at the, when you're at 100 millimeters, you can go f5. But for the size of this, and for the weight of it, and the range you can get to 100 to 400, it is pretty amazing. When you think about if you want to get to a very fast f-stop, even an f4, if you want to get an f2.8, and you're going to be using a 400 millimeter lens, that it typically has to be, or anything I've ever seen, it has to be a prime 400 mil lens. And a prime 400 mil lens is a huge lens. Even a prime 300 mil lens is a big lens. You need a very big opening, because to get that amount of light in, to have an f-stop like f2 or an f2.8, you could use a doubler with one of your lenses if you have a 70 to 200, 2.8, but then it's become an f4 all the way through. That is a good option. Again, what I do like about something like this is the range on this. And for me, this is a very specific kind of lens. This is not a lens that I use a ton, really. So price point on this is also great, because there is going to be some situations where this lens is going to become very handy, but on my typical shoots, I would not be using this. It's very specific stuff. It's stuff like shooting this surfing, or shooting wildlife, or shooting animals in the wild. Some stuff I shot in South Africa where I was using the Sony 70 to, what lens was I using? It was a Sony 300 millimeter lens. Similar kind of thing where it wasn't that fast, but I could get that range, and again, be lighting my kit. So if I wanted to go out somewhere, go mountain biking with something, ride into a location, but I do want to have a longer lens with me and a very long lens with me, this is a great option. This is way, way lighter than my 70 to 200. And it is lighter because there's less big of glass elements on it, right? And that's what you need, bigger glass to let more light in, to have those faster f-stops. This model of the lens, this is their new DSDN, they call them. They're DGDN, sorry, lenses. And they're becoming specific. They're making these series of lenses. Sigma is making these series of lenses specifically for mirrorless cameras. So this only comes with an E mount, which I have here, or the Leica L mount. That's the only two versions you can get in this lens. You can't get it for an EF mount, and you can't get it in a Nikon or Nikon mount. You can only get it in the Sony E or a Leica L mount version. And that's because of the way the flanging and stuff works when you're using a mirrorless camera. I'll be having this in my kit for a long time, bringing it out on specific things, but I'll be bringing this out more often than when I think I need it, because it's something light enough and compact enough that I can just say, oh, I'll bring this with me just in case. The 70-200 is not always a lens like that because of the weight to it. In some situations, if I'm hiking in, if I'm biking in, if I'm skiing into a location to do some work, I'm thinking about the weight in my backpack, in my bags, in my camera bags, it's usually on my back. And what do I want to bring in? And a 70-200 might not be worth it for the weight, and maybe it will be worth it, but this is something that I can easily bring in. This with a couple other of their new DG lenses. My 85, the new 85 Sigma is amazing. They're, I think, announcing some other lenses very shortly. So a great addition to my kit. Recommend this for photo and video when you want a price-effective long lens that still works very well. So thanks so much, guys, for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments below, what do you like about this lens? Have you tried this lens? Are you interested in getting this lens? What lens like this would you recommend? Is it by another manufacturer? Is it Sony's version? And if you can give me a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell to get notified next time I upload a video, and we'll see you on the next one.